Are you playing Malice? Has Lancia been bothering you? I've got 2 styles of decks to play around Lancia and to punish those pesky trolls who are stopping you from playing Malice. Hello guys and welcome back to another cold episode. On today's episode, we're taking a look at Millennium in Malice. Yeah, Millennium's back. Here's the thing. I, in a very tired state of mind, thought about it and went, wait, can't we just play the Millennium cards so that we don't immediately die to Lancia? Because I was thinking about how people were playing with Lancia in regards to, like, what the opponents were doing. And the answer is, they would only ever activate Lancia in response to a banish effect. So if I activated an effect that would banish a card, they would go Lancia. And I went, how do I beat this? And I thought of 2 ways of doing this. And the simple answer is, hey, you know what SnowiKs was doing? Yeah, what if we just do this with Malice? So here's Millennium. It's pretty self-explanatory. It is just the Millennium cards added it to the Malice engine. But I do have a second one with an additional engine in here. But it's pretty simple, right? We're playing all of the Millennium engine. Pretty simple. The 3 Sengagen, the 1 Golem, and the 2 Wenju Temple. It does make the deck significantly more expensive, but you don't need these cards. I know the deck's already extremely expensive as is. Don't feel pressured to play these cards. This is just a boon in addition to what you're already doing. So there's that. Then, of course, we're playing the, like, standard, I would say, amount of Malice monsters. We're playing 3 White Rabbit, 3 Dormouse, 3 Chessy Cat, and 2 March Hare. I do think this is probably going to be standard for a more Malice-centric build. And then we're playing 3 Malice in Underground, and we're playing 1 apiece of MTP, GWC, and TB. I think all 3 of these are very nice to have, and I don't really mind going over 40 for them. Then we're also playing the 1 Malice in the Mirror. As for the rest of the cards, they are just hand traps and/or... yeah, it's just hand traps. We're playing 2 Droll and Lockbird. We're playing 2 Maxi, the 3 Ash Blossom, the 2 Lancia, 3 Fuelos, the 2 Nibiru, the 1 Crossout Designator, 2 Called By, and the 1 Infip. If you're wondering why we're playing so many 2-ofs, it's because, for the most part, I don't want to see them in every hand, so we're just playing a few of them. And they're also Crossout targets, so there's that. As for the extra deck, the important cards here that are different, I should say, from most other lists is Doomed Dragon for the Millennium stuff, and of course, Galaxy Eye's Photon Lord. Now, this is the reason we're playing, this is the point of playing the Millennium cards, is you go Millennium, you do the Millennium stuff, and then instead of going Zombie Vampire, because that's, like, okay, but it's not great, you instead make Photon Lord. And now, you can normal summon a Malice monster, and your opponent doesn't have the ability to just Lancia you and turn off your entire deck, which is great. So, there's that. And then on top of that, on the following turn, you also have a monster negate. It's pretty nice. That being said, the other thing that this provides you is an additional body on field with Golem. If you start with Sengagen, you get an additional body off of Golem, which then means if they were to, like, imperm something like your Chessy Cat or something else of that nature, or if they were just to, if you weren't to have an additional guy, right? Like, you don't have a starter with, like, White Rabbit or Dormouse or something like that, you can still just use those 2 to go into Haggard. And then Haggard can banish, and then you do the combo from there, right? So, that was the other idea. Anyway, as for the rest of the cards, we're playing Link Spider for Nibiru purposes, because there's a high chance you get Nibiru'd. We're playing the 1 Lingaribo, the 1 Link Decoder, IP Masquerena, and SP Little Knight, Splash Mage, Haggard Lizardos, and then 1 apiece of Red Ransom, White Binder, and Heart's Cryptor, and then Firewall Dragon, as well as Apollosa and Axis Kotalker. Let's hop into the replays and show you how this deck performed. Alright, so here we are going second, and honestly this hand is pretty good, except for the fact that we are, in fact, going second. Except for the fact that I lied to you, and actually we are going first. With an additional card. We're going to start off here with the Sengagen, which will probably be met by the Ash Blossom, which I decide I'm going to Called By, and yeah, so of course we're still going to be able to do the Millennium stuff. So out comes the Golem, they're going to activate the Droll, I'm going to cross out because of course I am, why would I not? Activate the Golem effect, we're going to activate it, which will probably be met by Impulse, and then we normal summon a guy, and yeah, that was 3 points of interaction used on the Millennium cards, and then I just get a normal summon the Dormouse. Now, that being said, I did have Called By and Cross Out, but that is also one of the ideas, like, they see the Millennium cards and they go, bop, 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 stop that! And then you still get to play the game. So, there's that. Alright, here we are going second, and this is a fairly decent hand. We drew Lancia, Nibiru, and... Well, we drew Cross Out, so that's pretty good. We're going to start out here with the Chessy Cat. My opponent is going to Ash that. We're going to Cross Out, and then we're going to draw 2, because of course we are. And there's the Wedju Temple. Out comes the Dormouse. They're going to activate the effect of their Fool Loss. I'm going to Called By. Then I'm going to activate the Dormouse. We're going to banish a guy here. We're going to activate the effect. Out comes the Impulse. And now I get to absolutely own them with Wedju Temple. They realize the writing on the wall and concede there. What a great set of games. Yeah, let's show you the other deck. The next deck is just me adding Fiendsmith to this. Yeah, that thing that we did with Snake Eyes, yeah, we're doing the exact same thing. Like, pretty much pound for pound. We're just adding the Fiendsmith stuff. We're adding the Millennium stuff. It's going to work great. Here's the thing. The Fiendsmith stuff helps significantly play around things like Lancia, which is very nice. But also, the Fiendsmith stuff plays very well into Droll as well, which is another thing to keep in mind. So, there's a lot of stuff like that where it's just a little bit more helpful. And, most importantly, is the fact that the Fiendsmith stuff allows you to go into Apo. So you do the whole Fiendsmith line, you end on Apo, and now that also blocks Lancia, and then you can, like, normal summon a Malice monster, or activate the field spell, or something else of that nature. It's very silly, it's very goofy. But for the most part, that is more or less what we're doing. So, it's pretty self-explanatory. It's the entire Fiendsmith engine, the Millennium engine, and then the Malice engine. We're playing the 1 Lurie, the 2 Engraver, the 1 Tract, and the 1 Crimson tiers as our Fiendsmith engine. And then we're also playing 1 Paradise. This may seem strange, but the main reason for this is because the Malice monsters lock you into Link monsters, meaning if you start with the Malice monsters and then go into Fiendsmith, which does happen occasionally, you can still use the Fiendsmith cards, more specifically Requiem, to go into Crimson tiers, and Crimson tiers can send Paradise, which can then be an additional disruption on the opponent's turn. Also, Fiendsmith and Paradise is very good against Malice, because Malice will go, like, banish, like, Dormouse Reborn, and then you just send the Dormouse to the grave. And since it's already been reborn off of the effect of its banish effect, you then, like, they don't have that coming back, which is very, very useful and pretty solid. On top of that, you can send a bunch of other things as well, which is very nice. So, there's that. We're also playing, of course, the Millennium cards, 3 Sangajin, the 1 Golem, and the 1 Temple, and then the Malice cards. We're playing 3 White Rabbit, 3 Dormouse, and then 1 apiece of Chessy Cat and March Hare. And the reason for this is because we needed to cut something. I decided to cut the more Malice-centric monsters, so we still have access to them. We can still get them pretty consistently, but overall, they are cut down. Then we have ourselves the 2 Malice in Underground. We're only playing 2 instead of 3. We still have a fair amount of consistency, and we still have other ways of seeing the Malice cards, so I don't really feel like I needed I didn't feel like I needed the extra ones. And we're not playing the other spell, the Malice in the Mirror, so sometimes Red Ransom is just kind of dead. But then we're also playing 1 MTP and 1 TB. We're not playing the Reborn spell in GWC, because, simply put, it's not as important as being able to special summon from deck or being able to search from deck. So, there's that. As for the extra deck, it's pretty simple. We're playing 3 fusions, the Lacrima, the Desiree, and the Doomed Dragon, and then, of course, the 1 Zombie Vampire. We're not playing Photon Lord this time. The main reason for this is because Zombie Vampire has better targets now with this, and we can use the Fiendsmith engine to bait out those Lancias and stuff like that, or negate them, right? So we have a little bit more oomph to push through, even if Lancia does exist, so there's that. As for the Link monsters, it's pretty simple as well. The 1 Link Decoder, the Haggard, the Red Ransom, the White Binder, the Heart Scriptor, of course, Apollosa, and then the Fiendsmith cards, Requiem, Moon, and Sequence, and then SP and Access Code Talker. That's it for the deck. Let's hop into the replays. Alright, here we are going first, and this is a fairly good hand. I'm pretty happy with this hand. While White Rabbit by itself is not exactly the greatest of starts, we still have the ability to play the game. So we're going to start off here with the TB. We're going to banish here and then special summon. My opponent's going to activate the Maxi. That's cool and all. We're going to activate our Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring to negate that Hippiparray. Out comes our Dormouse, and then we're going to reborn the White Rabbit, and then we're going to link those 2 off into Haggard Lizardos. If you don't know, TB specifically does require you, or does turn off the monster. However, it does say that summoned monster So if you just send it to the graveyard and reborn it off of its own effect, it still gets the effect. So we get to go for the Dormouse anyway. We're going to go for the March Hare. March Hare is going to add itself back. And now we can go into the Red Ransom. Out comes Red Ransom. We're going to activate the effect of the Red Ransom in order to grab up Malice and Underground. Activate the effect of the Malice and Underground, banish the Chessy Cat, and we are going to then special summon, we're going to then draw 2. Now, here's the thing. By doing this, I have basically 2 lines of play, depending on what I draw. So, the first line of play is I draw, like, just a bunch of hand traps. I go Splash Mage. I'm not playing Splash Mage. I go, Moon into, Requiem into Lacrima, sending Fiendsmith in Paradise, and then I just kind of, like, pass on that with, like, hand traps in hand. Right? That is our one play. Or we can make, like, Apo. Right? That's also technically part of that, right? Or, depending on what else we draw, like here we drew a Bestial and Fiendsmith. We go Apo here, and then we can do the Fiendsmith line. So we're going to go for the Fiendsmith line, and I wouldn't realistically have made this play if my opponent didn't have, or if my opponent had, if I hadn't have drawn the Bestial. Anyway, out comes Lurie. Lurie is going to go into the Requiem. Requiem effect is going to activate. We're going to grab up the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to send the Engraver. Engraver is going to special summon back. And now we can go into our Druisworm just to get additional bodies. These are basically just additional bodies. And out comes the Red Ransom. Red Ransom is going to banish a guy. And then we are going to link off into the White Binder. This is a mistake. This is just straight up a mistake. What I should have done, while White Binder is nice, what I should have done is gone Heartscriptor. I should have just straight up made Heartscriptor. Heartscriptor has 2 banishes, but more importantly, it has a banish. And then we have the Apo, we have the Nibiru, we have the Droll, we have the Druisworm, and we have the Called By, and we keep the White Binder for potential follow-up. And on top of that, we also have the Lacrima in grave to go for a future, a future thing. I get greedy and go White Binder, and I go, surely setting a trap here is very useful. It's not. I'm lying to you. It's terrible. Just make Heartscriptor. It's fantastic there. I'm going to banish the TB and then just set the MTP, and now I go Heartscriptor. This is just dumb. This is just silly. I do get to shuffle back my my hair, which is nice. So there's that. The idea here is I have a banish, I have Called By, I have the ability to search and then set up the White Binder for additional interaction there. So I can use like White Binder in order to banish more cards and put additional cards onto my field. So like there's that. I also have the ability to like banish a card with the MTP. So I technically have 2 banishes, and then I also have the Nibiru. So that is generally the idea there. But let me tell you, this game goes downhill very fast. So my opponent obviously has the Magnuma in hand. I'm gonna activate the Droll here. Now, here's the problem with that. This is now turned off. So while it would be nice to be able to banish, what I should have done is just immediately activated the MTP to grab up a guy. It's fine, but I'm just silly. Anyway, my opponent goes for, or I attempt to go for the Lacrima. Out comes the Magnuma, and now I'm just kind of cooked. So basically, at this point, I have Nibiru and Heartscriptor. That's more or less it. My opponent's going to go for the Link Decoder, then they're going to go into the White Binder here, and White Binder effect is going to activate, banishing a bunch of my stuff. I'm like, okay, that's fine. Out comes Link Decoder. Sure, I still have Nibiru. I'm going to activate the Nibiru. They're going to go for the TB. I'm going to activate Heartscriptor here, banishing itself. Huh? Why? Well, because it comes back. That's it. Anyway, they're going to activate the effect of the White Binder. I'm going to put my guy back, and they're going to go into the White Binder effect, setting the MTP. Out comes Firewall Dragon. What? I told you this game was painful. So yeah, Firewall Dragon is co-linked with Heartscriptor, because I decided to put this in this zone for reasons. I don't know why I did this. There was no reason. I think I just accidentally clicked it there. I think I was trying to put it here. I'm not gonna lie. But out comes Haggard Lizardos. Now, I elect to banish the Chessy Cat because I believe this is the only one that hasn't activated its effect thus far. So I'm like, I'm going to banish this one so that you can't do the thing and like continue playing the game off of that. So they elect to instead just reduce my guy's attack points to 0 and walk over. So It's not great, but I do draw Sengajin. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to activate the Sengajin. Maybe they do something here. Out comes the GWC. Cool. Activate the effect of the GWC, banishing a bunch of cards. I'm like, sure, that's fine. Out comes the White Rabbit, and then they're going to go for the MTP. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to activate my own MTP and grab March Hare. The only thing at this point I have to worry about is the potential unknown in hand, which we don't know, which could be anything, and the set card, which is likely Imperm and or Crossout. If it's Crossout, we're just boned. We just lose. If it's Imperm, we still have plays. So, out comes our White Binder. We draw a card. We draw Maxi. This is very helpful. We're going to attempt to banish a bunch of cards. Their card is not Imperm. It is, in fact, White Binder. Or, it is, in fact, Malice in the Mirror. Now, here's the thing. The Malice monsters have card text, which says your opponent cannot target Malice link monsters that point to this card with card effects. Here's the thing. All of the Malice monsters have some sort of effect like this. Link monsters can't be destroyed by card effect. Link monsters can be banished. Or, sorry, any monster destroyed is banished instead. And then this one says, you take no damage from attacks involving Malice link monsters that point to this card. I didn't know this. We found out today. But these are effects that are genuinely not used very often. This was accidental, and somehow it saves my entire life here. So, my opponent goes for the Malice in the Mirror, not realizing that they can't target the White Binder, so the White Binder is going to resolve. They're going to banish their own White Binder, but I'm going to banish 3 cards. I'm going to activate my cards in sequence here, and you might be wondering, hold on, wait a second. There should be an additional card activation here. Why didn't you activate the Dormouse? And the reason for that is because I don't need to activate the Dormouse here. There's not a purpose to doing that. I'm going to activate it later off of the effect of Red Ransom, because Red Ransom is coming back, and we get to banish a card anyway. So that's the idea there. Like, I'll just use it to chain block mostly here. Also, Chetsy Cat's negated. Oops. So yeah, now we activate the Dormouse as a chain block, so that they can't, like, ash our Red Ransom. We draw a Wedju, which is very funny here, but we're going to go for the Dormouse here. We're going to banish, and then out comes the White Rabbit. White Rabbit is going to set the TB, which we shuffled back earlier off of Heart Scripter, and then we get to go Access Code Talker. Now, I did goof. Again, I know. I should have kept the Red Ransom on the field, because Red Ransom specifically inverts the attack and defense. That's one of the things that it does. It inverts attack and defense. So I would have been able to walk into all of these with 300 defense, and they put all of these in attack position for some reason instead of defense, so there's that. But alas, it doesn't really matter, because I'm going to banish, realize White Binder, or all of these have text, and then go, oh wait, you're still dead anyway, because Access Code Talker is a fair and balanced Yu-Gi-Oh card. Whoo, baby! That was a game and a half, and it was played poorly from, I think, both players. Mostly me. But somehow we still got there. Good game? Alright, and here we are once again going first, and this is going to showcase, hopefully, the power of the Fiendsmith engine and what it ultimately accomplishes here. We're going to start off here with the Fiendsmith line. We're going to go for the Engraver into Lurie. Or sorry, Engraver into Tract into Lurie. Lurie effect is going to activate, special summon itself, and then we're going to go into the Requiem, and then we're going to activate the Requiem effect in order to send. Here we go for the Lacrima in order to send the Paradise. So we're going to go for the Paradise here, and out comes our big boy into Sequence. Sequence effect is going to activate. We're going to shuffle back 2 cards in order to go into the Lacrima. Lacrima is going to reborn at that Engraver, and out comes the Druis Worm, and I'm like, that's fine. Because guess what? Now we just normal summon the Malice. And out comes Apo. Hip hip hooray. We're going to activate the effect of our guy Engrave and negate there. Anyway, here we get to go for the entire Malice line. So we're going to go for the Dormouse. We're going to activate the Dormouse. We're going to go for the White Rabbit. White Rabbit is going to set TB. And out comes Haggard Lizardos. We're going to activate the effect of the Haggard Lizardos. We're going to banish. Now here's the thing. I've done this several times, and I am a goof for doing this. This is just straight up a mistake, and I recognize that. That's okay, because here's the thing. I forget that this sets the value and doesn't add to the value. I am so much more used to things like the Lyralist monsters, which just boost Apo, that targeting Apo tends to be my go-to. Where it's like, oh, I get a damage modification effect? Let me target Apo. I'm stupid. I recognize this. This has happened to me multiple times. I'll get there eventually. Anyway, it's fine. We grab the March Hare. We're going to activate the effect of the March Hare. And yeah, they had fucking Lancia. Of course they had Lancia. That's the whole point of the deck! Anyway, I make SP Little Knight and just pass. Now, this may seem really bad, and that's because it is. I'm just stupid. I could have had Apo, full Malice combo, and I decided, you know what? No. But it's fine, because we have the Roach. Anyway, my opponent is going to negate here off of the effect of the Malice in the Mirror by banishing their monster, and out comes the guy. It's fine, we have Maxi, we just kind of win the game. I am also going to go for the Paradise here in order to send it with the Desiree, so we can send it the Dormouse here. So away goes the Dormouse. They're just going to go combat here. Understandable. Maxi is a card that does exist. And yeah, we have to deal with it. Anyway, out comes TB. We're going to special summon out the White Rabbit and then just pass the turn. Anyway, it's fine. We drew Malice in the Underground, so we're going to activate the effect. The opponent is going to go for the March Hare and banish the Malice in the Mirror, and I'm going to banish my own from Grave Dormouse. Anyway, they're going to banish the Dormouse while also adding the March Hare. I could have ashed that, but realistically, I think this is it's just better to keep the ash. And here's why. If this is a trap card, I think it's way more valuable to ash the trap card than it is to, like, ash the Malice in the Mirror. Because if this is, like, TB, or if it's, the one that searches, I think that's way more value. Anyway, not really that big of a deal. We're going to go for the Chessy Cat. We're going to go Chessy Cat, draw 2. We draw into the Magma, which is very funny, but it's fine. March Hare is going to add itself back, and then we're going to go into the Link Decoder, and then we are going to go into the Red Ransom. Not realizing I don't have a card to search with this. It's fine. We're just going to go into the Magnemite effect here. We're going to banish the White Rabbit. White Rabbit is going to bring itself back, and then we are going to go into our... Or, sorry, we're going to set the MTP, and then we're going to go into Axis Code Talker. At this point, the game is basically over. We're going to activate the Axis Code Talker, banishing the Red Ransom, which then triggers the Red Ransom. Because for some reason, that works. I hate this game. Anyway, we also banish a card here. We're going to banish another card with the Apo, and then we're going to banish another card with the Haggard, and just deal with the entire field. And then we're going to go to combat, and this is well over lethal. They can send whatever they want. Doesn't matter. We just have lethal here. So, yikes. But it's fine. It didn't matter, because Maxi's a cool card. It's fine. It's fine. Good game. Okay, those last two games were not exactly the greatest, but at the very least, you can see the power that the Fiendsmith and Millennium stuff provides for this deck, and is not, you know, if not played by a buffoon. I am not very good at playing combo decks, and you probably already know this, but because of that, I end up just, like, putting my own foot in my mouth. I try too hard to do too many things, and I end up just absolutely owning myself. It's very silly, it's very goofy, but alas, I do think that overall these are very solid strategies. I don't know if this is necessarily the best way to play Malice. Time will tell, but honestly I do think that it specifically allows you to play around a lot of the hate that is currently plaguing Malice. I've seen Chaos Hunter. Why are people playing Chaos Hunter? Because it specifically beats Malice. Now here's the thing. If you play Fiendsmith, and they drop a Chaos Hunter on you, you don't care. You just send it away, it goes away, and you're done. Cool, done, I win. So, that's the main point of this. It's like, yeah, people could have Lancia, people could have this, that, or the other thing. It might not matter. Anyway, I'm going to call it quits there. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you guys did indeed enjoy it. If you did, a like is very much so appreciated. And remember to always stay frosty. Bye-bye.